What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is the Real Housewives of New Jersey reunion part 1. Now, this is a 3-part reunion. And usually when it's these 3-part reunions, the first part is pretty good. The second part is usually a dud. And then the third part is all the stuff we've been waiting for. But I'm going to be perfectly honest with you and tell you that part 1, I thought was pretty good. Teresa and Melissa just seem like they're just going to go at it. Just every opportunity for one of them to jump in. And if I'm being honest, it really seemed like Teresa was instigating a lot of it. But Melissa was giving as good as she gets. Let's be clear. Of course, by the end of the episode, Teresa was once again jumping back to how Melissa got on the show originally. And you can see that Andy was over it. He is tired of the conversation. He is tired of, y'all brought her on the show to come at me. I was her storyline. Listen, Teresa, girl, yeah. It's a reality show. They do it all the time. They bring people on the show that they think is going to bring a cute storyline, maybe a conflict, whatever. They do it all the time. So it's been 10 years, 12 years. Girl, let it go. Because here's the thing. If you wanted Melissa to no longer be on the show, then that first season, just don't engage. Don't give them a storyline. Don't give them anything. And she probably would be gone by now. Reality TV 101, if you don't have a storyline, it gets old. But anyway, let's get into it, child. So we start this off with, of course, they got to do the looks and stuff. I think everybody looked all right. Y'all know I'm not the fashion person. I did like Teresa's dress. I liked her hair. I liked her nails. I love Dolores. For me, Dolores, I love Dolores. Even when I'm mad at Dolores, I love Dolores. Jennifer, I don't like Jennifer, so I'm going to try to be fair, but I think her look was probably my least favorite look, okay? Danielle's look, I thought looked really nice. I'm not going to get in here and describe all the stuff. Melissa's look was probably my second least favorite. It might be, honestly, Melissa's look might be my least favorite. I didn't understand it. The sleeves were off, but it had a hood. I don't know, but you didn't keep the hood on. Like, you came out very dramatic with the hood on. Girl, you should have kept it on. That was dramatic. It was giving it a moment. When you took the hood down, it just didn't. The big sequins. So yeah, if I'm being fair, Melissa's look was probably my least favorite, and then Jennifer's. I loved Marge's look. I loved the little corset thing we had working, and I liked Rachel's look. So, Andy said that he feels like this was their best look, like as far as all of the women, and their looks. And I think I agree with him. I haven't been watching it from the beginning, but this is my 3rd reunion, and this is definitely the best out of the 3 that I've been watching. Is this my 3rd or 4th reunion? Oh, I can't keep up. I think it's my 3rd. Anyway, so we start off, of course, we're talking about the wedding and stuff, and he asked why Dina wasn't in the wedding. Now, listen, one thing I know about Teresa is that Teresa is going to lie. That's why it's really hard to believe when it comes down to Teresa and Melissa. And I know people are team Teresa or team Melissa. And honestly, I'm not team anybody. I'm tired of talking about it. But Teresa, you be lying when the truth will do. Now, she said that Dina dropped out of the wedding because she didn't want to be on camera. And Andy was like, but she didn't have to sign the release. She signed the release and then changed her mind. And Teresa was like, yeah, I know, but, she was like, I wish you would have let me know sooner, but there's no hard feelings. I'm not mad. So then Andy says, well, prior to the wedding, it looks like you guys were hanging out a lot. You guys were active on each other's social media. You were posting pictures on, your social media, her social media. You guys were together a lot. You guys went out double dating. And it just seems like all of that has ceased. So there is the story, Teresa. And it's like, we live in a world of social media. You went from posting these people and y'all hanging out to nothing. Something happened. And so here comes Melissa. She said, they brought up the whole thing about Joe bringing up the business deal that went bad. Now, Teresa was like, there was no business deal. No business deal went bad. Melissa was like, look, Dina's partner, husband, whatever, is very private. He doesn't want to be on camera, and he didn't want that discussed. Joe was out of line for bringing it up, and that's probably where a lot of the strife is coming from, because it came on the show, and he didn't want it on the show. Girl, tell the truth. Listen, you can tell the truth. Listen, Teresa be lying when the truth will do. All Teresa had to say was, well, they didn't really appreciate becoming part of my storyline, and me and her are still friends. We're still friendly, but that's sort of why she dropped out, because she just didn't want the drama. Girl, that's a story that we all can believe. You see what I'm saying? How Teresa be lying when the truth will do. Anyway, I know the Teresa haters are gonna be like, yeah. Anyway, then they get to arguing about Teresa. Somehow, I'm just going through my notes, y'all, so they might be a little all over the place. So then they got into this, they talked about Melissa's mom not being invited to the wedding. Teresa said that was intentional because she felt like if she invited the mother, she would have to invite all of Melissa's family, and she didn't want to do that. I feel like it was your wedding, and if you didn't want to invite the rest of her family, you could have. I feel like you purposely didn't invite her family because you did not want to invite them. And here's the thing. That's okay. It's your wedding. But once again, and I understand what she's saying, like maybe she would have felt pressure, but you clearly didn't feel no pressure to include Melissa in your wedding. You didn't feel you didn't feel the pressure in other areas. So if you had sent her mom an invitation and said, listen, I'm going to invite your mom. She can bring a +1, but she can't bring a +10. That's it. That's all. Like, y'all be making stuff complicated when it just is not. So then, from there, they got on the conversation about how Melissa and Joe didn't do anything for her. And on their podcast, they made the comment about they put food on the table. Now, that was wrong. I didn't like that, Melissa and Joe. I didn't like that. Y'all made it seem like they wouldn't have ate if y'all didn't film with them. But in that conversation, some other things came up. Once again, Teresa gets caught in a lie. Teresa said, yeah, well, when Joe was in jail and I was home, they never spent time with me. They never asked me to go out. They never did things. Melissa was like, girl, what are you talking about? She said, we had you out all the time. She said, you were flirting with my neighbor. You liked my neighbor. And I would invite you to dinner and invite you to do stuff with us all the time because I knew he was going to be there and I knew you liked him. Girl, what are you talking about? And Teresa was like, nuh-uh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. That never happened. So then, of course, Melissa provides pictures of them at dinner, and they're posting them. They're showing us the pictures with Teresa out at dinner with Melissa and Joe and this neighbor. It's a group of them. And Teresa goes, oh, well, that time happened. Melissa was like, girl, I could name 5 more instances, but it doesn't matter. You said it never happened, Teresa. You said they never asked you out. They never spent time with you. So then the whole thing about Joe visiting her in jail came up. Melissa was like, girl, he wasn't on the list. Joe wasn't on the list. Contrary to popular belief, you just can't show up at a jail. You have to literally, even with email, I had a friend that was in jail, and we had to go through a whole thing in order to get my email approved. I had to submit a form with my email address so they could vet it. It is not that easy. It's not that simple. People stop, it's not TV. There's a process you have to go through. You have to submit paperwork. They have to vet you because there's certain people that can't. If you got a record or, you're a co-defendant, and it's certain people that can't come. And so you can't just show up and be like, hey, my sister is locked up here. Can I visit her? And again, that's something that's easily verifiable. So Melissa said Joe's name wasn't on the list until Teresa started filming her show. What is it? Teresa Comes Home or whatever the hell the name of the show was. That was when. So I was like, here we go. And again, it's making you look bad, Teresa, because again, here's the thing. 2 things can be true at the same time. Joe and Melissa can be bad brother and sister-in-laws to you without making them the devil. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of saying, hey, you guys did invite me out a couple of times, but ultimately, I feel like you guys just forgot about me. Boom. That's it. You could have said, hey, I know that maybe my paperwork didn't go through at first, and it took a while for Joe to get on the list, but once he was on the list, he never came to visit me. Boom. You take the argument away from them, but when you turn it into a 100% thing, and you try to turn them into the devil, you give them an opportunity to argue their case and not look as bad as they originally were looking. So anyway, so then we get on, let me go through my list, child. Dinner, Louis. Why they say that Louis lied? Oh, they brought up the whole thing about Louis and this private investigator thing, which Andy said we'll address later when Louis on stage. So I'm sure that's part 3. So she was like, because Margaret was like, she said, I love the wedding. I really felt for Teresa. It was emotional until I saw the season and I felt some kind of way about this private investigative situation. Then they talked about how Louis lied. Louis lied about knowing who Teresa was. Louis lied because he was trying to get on the show, because they said Louis was trying to date Alexia from Real Housewives of Miami. Now, I don't know how long ago this was, because Alexia been with her man. What's the man, his name, her husband name? They done got married and everything now, but she been with him for a minute. So I don't know when this allegedly had happened, but baby, they said, now, I would love to hear what Alexia got to say. I would love to hear what Alexia got to say. But anyway, moving on. Then Teresa makes the infamous threat to Melissa and told her she was leaving the show. And Melissa was like, oh, I am. And Andy was like, she is. And Teresa was like, well, this is it. I'm not filming anymore. Like, I'm done with her after today. And that was absolutely an ultimatum. Teresa was absolutely throwing a threat at Bravo, Universal, and Andy, and being very clear about her intentions for next season. Now, y'all all know that right now, next season is on pause until the execs can figure out what the hell they're going to do about the Teresa-Melissa thing. Because at the end of the day, I think they want to keep Melissa, but they also obviously want to keep Teresa. So, child, that's a whole situation, child. Show out of my life. Oh, yeah. P.I. Okay. Then we got into Dolores and Paulie, which was cute, but really the main thing that came out of that is, girl, Paulie's still married. He been separated from his wife for 14 years. I never understand these people who just be separated for purgatory, okay? She said that, well, he never really wanted to get remarried. He never saw himself getting remarried, so he never really worried about, getting the divorce, but she said he working on it now. She talked about, obviously the dynamic between Frank changing. Child, why is Frank still living with David? With his girlfriend? Like, that is the most dysfunctional shit I have ever seen in my life. I have never experienced the dysfunction. That is crazy to me. And Dolores was like, basically, he said, Andy asked her, well, you said you didn't want to move in with David without a commitment, but you moved in with Paulie, and hell, he's still married. She said, but the intention is different. And I can agree. She said her and David led they led separate lives. Like, they dated, but their families didn't intertwine. She didn't really deal with his people. He didn't deal with her people. And so there wasn't that sense of security. With Paulie, it's different. And I can see that. People don't have conditions set in stone. It is very conditional on how you make me feel. And so I can respect that. I mean, get the divorce, Paulie. But I still like Paulie, and I definitely love Dolores with Paulie. But baby, get that divorce, okay? Okay. Danielle. So then they got on Danielle. Danielle is still holding on to this thing that she don't really know what she did to her brother other than block him on Instagram and why he's still so mad. And I don't think nobody believes that. And I really would love for them to get the brother on the show. She said that Real Housewives of New Jersey is his favorite show. And Andy was like, well, isn't that crazy? Because he could have absolutely been on the show. Because he asked, do you think your brother saw what was going on this season? She said she's going to see her brother because her grandmother passed. My condolences. And that she was going to be at the funeral the next day. And so she absolutely was going to see him. Teresa. So Margaret was saying how she really liked Danielle, how she helped Danielle with her business and all of these different things. And here comes Teresa. Well, you offered to help me, but you never helped me with my business. Margaret was like, girl, you stood me up. Like, I absolutely tried to help you. You stood me up. This ain't even about you. But see, Teresa kept doing that. She kept finding a way to make stuff about her. That ain't had nothing to do with you, girl. Then Margaret made a jab about endorsements, about how, Danielle, you're doing really great. I see you got those great endorsements, which of course was a jab at Jennifer. So here go Jennifer. I don't need endorsements. Andy, you don't have endorsements and you're fine. Andy was like, I've got a lot of endorsements and I like my endorsements. And the rest of the couch was like, girl, he does his endorsements all the time. What are you talking about? Like, his social media is full of his endorsements. And Andy was like, and I love all of them. So Jennifer, once again, you looking stupid because you didn't do your research. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, girl, You try to put yourself on Andy's level, and Andy was like, girl, I got endorsements. Post about them all the time. Anyway. Rachel and Danielle, they argue back and forth. They still arguing about now they did bring up the rat thing, but I do agree. They played the scene back, and Andy and everybody felt like they were arguing, like they really blew the scene up too much, and they were arguing over, they were really arguing over nothing. But at the end of the day, I don't think Rachel misrepresented the conversation. I just think it was it became a bigger deal than it needed to become. I mean, like Dolores said, girl, we all carry bones. Like, all of us are messy, yes. Was she messy for taking it back to Margaret? Yes, but we're all messy. Like, girl, whatever. At the end of the day, though, one thing Rachel said that I agree with is that Danielle just doesn't want to take any responsibility. Like, she just doesn't. Instead of saying, you know what, I was carrying bones, and yeah, I felt some kind of way about you taking it back to Margaret, but you didn't lie on me. I just felt, I was just hurt by the fact that I feel like, man, you were in this together and you sort of threw me to the wolves kind of thing. But she won't take responsibility. She still ain't taking no responsibility. But they just agreed to leave everything in season 1 and move forward with season 2. But I bet y'all $20 right now that doesn't happen. Next season, they're going to probably bring both of them back because they did make good TV and they both do have storylines, especially if they can get the brother to come on the show or even the sister-in-law. If they can get either one of them to film, even if it's just with the parents. Danielle's definitely got a storyline. And Rachel, I guess she's got something going on there, but she's really good friends with Melissa. But hell, Melissa, we don't know if Melissa got a job, child. I don't know. But I bet you if both of them come back, they don't leave this in season 1. I promise you it comes back up. Then we talked about this whole thing with Melissa and Teresa and the kids. And I still feel like they didn't get to the crux of that statement. It wasn't the issue that Teresa brought up the niece when they were in Ireland. I think the point was it was that double standard. Like, you're making it seem like, and like Melissa said, she said, your kids have missed plenty of my events. It's not that, like, what are you talking about? Like, they have their own lives. Like, but once again, Teresa's trying to turn this into, I don't know, child. They were arguing. I don't care. Then Laura kept coming up, and Margaret was like, listen, I'm not mad about anything with the Laura situation. I knew Laura was talking to y'all. A lot of the stuff that she said, it got back to me. So that wasn't even my issue about the whole Laura thing. Well, come to find out, and again, here's where Jennifer looks stupid again. Jennifer was like, well, Laura is mad because Margaret said she was going to try to get her on the show, and she didn't get her on the show. And Andy was like, but she did try. Like, she absolutely tried to get Laura on the show. So now Jennifer and Laura are looking stupid because I guess Laura thought Margaret was lying about that. But Andy verified that no, she did try to get her on the show. She said, and, she tried to get on the show when she was Margaret's friend. And now she's hanging out with you as Margaret's enemy. Like, don't you think that if we wanted to bring her on, like, that would be good, TV either way? And Andy was like, yeah, like, I mean, Margaret was like, hell, I'm not NBC Universal. Like, I can bring the horse to water. I can't make them drink, So again, Jennifer and Laura now look stupid because y'all, I guess, felt like Margaret lied about that, and she didn't, and Andy verified that. Then Teresa brought up the fact that she found out that Melissa, that through Laura, she found out, and Jennifer, somebody named, was it Jacqueline, who I guess used to be on the show, who told Melissa, they used to be friends with Melissa, that told Teresa all this stuff that Melissa and Joe did behind her back. Allegedly, Melissa and Joe were talking to Joe Gorga's, Judice's ex-partner, and the episode ended with her blaming Melissa for her going to jail. Girl, what? How did it become Melissa's fault that she went to jail, girl? Anyway, that's where the episode ended. So we got part 2 tomorrow, next Tuesday, and then part 3 the Tuesday after that. I'm gonna try to do the last one as a live so we can discuss all of it. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.